pledge and then a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray with me. Lord, we come to you so thankful for the many blessings that you give us in this life. Lord, thank you for this community that we live in and this school district that we serve. Please be with each board member tonight. Lord, we pray for wisdom as we set policy and guide this school. May we always act in the best interest of the students and the staff. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
We'll call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Note that we do have a quorum present and the agenda was posted in a timely fashion. Next item on the agenda is recognition of students of the month. If the board will come to the front.
All right, Ms. Howdy, you brought a crew of Soaring Eagles. We're glad everybody's here today.
Alright, so I'm going to call them up one by one. I'm going to read while they're shaking hands with all the board members. I'm going to read what their teacher has written a little bit about them or why they chose them, okay? And then I have something to give them. This is the first board meeting that we're going to get to give our students a Soaring Cardinal medal, or like a little coin. So we've got one just with our logo and everything on it. So I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to start with our oldest. So that is Easton McMillan. And Easton was chosen by his teacher, Miss Cooper, because she said he is a very hard worker and he gives everything 100%.
Good job, buddy.
And next, I'm going to start with Miss Carol's class. In first grade, we have Kate Branham. And she said she chose him to be a Soaring Cardinal because he's a great student, sets a great example for his classmates. He's polite and courteous to everyone and is willing to help everyone who needs it. He is also a hard worker and tries very best to do everything that he does. Next in Miss Carol's class is Elijah Roberts. She said she has seen great changes in him in the last 6 weeks of school. He has always been polite and super helpful to everyone in their class. Recently, he has been working really hard to make good choices as well, and I'm very proud of the effort that he has put in. For Miss Cole's class, she has, sorry, I'm trying to find all my pages. She has Morgan McAnally. And she is chosen because she's being a great example of a leader during our class times, always being a friend to others, and always thinking outside the box when asking questions. The next from Miss Cole is Matt Alday. Miss Cole chose Matt for being a great example of a leader during their class time. He is kind and considerate of others when interacting with other classmates. And then in kindergarten, in Miss Turner's class, we have Camden Yee. She says he's an outgoing little boy who is kind to his friends and always tries his best on everything he does in the classroom. From Miss Turner's class, we also have Paisley Floyd. She always makes good choices at school. She has such a big heart, and she is a great friend and loves helping others. class in kindergarten, we have Aiden Wharton. He was chosen because he is always smiling and happy. He is always so excited about being at school and learning new things. He takes care of his classmates and he always works hard. In Ms. Stewart's class, we also have Avery Strickland. She was chosen because she is always so helpful to her classmates. She follows the rules and is always kind and sweet, and she is very respectful. Next we have Miss Higgs' class, and she chose Miss May May Hall. She was chosen because she has been working very hard in class and making tremendous progress with learning her alphabet letters and sounds.
Nope. She's good.
And she continued to grow socially and making new friends along the way. Keep up the good work. Also for Miss Hicks' class, we have Leona Petit. I'm not sure if she's here tonight. Okay. Well, good for her. Then we have in Miss Pate's class, we have Brennan Vaughn. Well, he was chosen for his outstanding work this 6 weeks, not only doing well academically, but he also was chosen for his kindness, and you can always count on him to be a friend.
Good job.
Awesome.
All right.
Next, we have Sloan in Miss Pate's class as well, Sloan Kerrigan. She was chosen to represent the class because she's always willing and ready to learn. She made great progress since the beginning of the year, both socially and academically. And last we have Miss Hudgens chose someone, and she chose Zane Hawley. And she chose him because he's participated in their character lessons. And then last I have my staff member of the month, and that is Miss Michelle Wyndham. And she was chosen because of she has stepped out and done online testing with her students, her third graders, and she always has a great Amplify lesson. Yep, they're really nice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wyndham. We'll do our middle school, high school, and then we'll get, you guys will have an opportunity at that point to get some pictures and have a great.
All right. I'm going to start with my staff member of the month. This person is someone who does a lot for us in many other ways than just in the buildings. She also helps and monitors some of our buses that travel to and from. She also gets asked to do an extraordinary amount of things at times, at random times. Please go do this, go do that, and take care of this, and she does it without any complaint. She is always friendly and kind, and we're thankful very much for her. Miss Cindy Miller. One of the best library organizers there is. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. 6th grade student of the month is a kid that has really shocked me. It's been a really good, awesome chance to meet him. I've been very fired up around campus dealing with him. I got to go in there and watch him play basketball this morning. It was pretty cool to see. He is a very good kid. I didn't realize how good a kid he was until I watched how he treated some other people out there in the recess area as well. Mr. Caleb Parks. Seventh and eighth grade students of the month, they ended up having to go to a basketball game, so I'm going to move on to the high school. But I will make sure that they get their award in the morning. Our ninth grade student of the month is Miss Kennedy Collins. Kennedy has been very, what's the word I'm looking for, studious this last year. She has improved a lot. All right, our sophomore student of the month is a young lady that I've gotten to know very well since she's in my son's class, our grade level, and has always been a very hard worker, but she's starting to get to where she's expanding and moving out into uncomfortable zones and dealing with things she don't like maybe, I don't know, singing in a play or some different stuff like that. So I really want to tell her how much I appreciate her. But also say congratulations for winning some. Miss McKenzie.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Our junior student of the month for the high school is a student that he is probably one of the best people as far as a friend you can find. He is eclectic kind of deal, like goes all around, does different things. Things that probably upset his mama, like killing ducks and stuff, but that's all right. He's just a good kid. We love him to death. Junior Graham Hawkins.
Congratulations.
Also broke 90 yesterday.
That's what I'm talking about.
Isn't that right, Graham?
That's right.
Broke 90. Broke 90.
And my last student is our senior high school student of the month. This young lady has won several awards this year, and I can tell you that every one of them are justified. She is an unbelievable young woman. I'm very proud of her. I'm very glad that she came back to us. Second time. Very glad she came back to us. She has done nothing but lit up the hallways with her smile. Thank you for your kindness. Ms. Jane Reed. And a blue ribbon. And a blue ribbon, I should have mentioned that. If we can, we're going to get everybody to go out there by the crest in the hallway. We're going to take photos of everybody. We'll let the elementary be in the front, and then we'll let the high school be in the middle school and high school.
All right. Next item on the agenda is item 4, board recognition.
All right. This month is School Board Appreciation Month, and there at your places are left you some gifts and ideas from our elementary and secondary. We certainly appreciate, I know, all the sacrifices you make, and it's a lot of work for your meal a month. And we certainly appreciate all the time and your leadership that you've shown this district. Through my experience of almost 20 years, I promise you the board is what dictates the success of a district. It starts right here with you guys, and we appreciate all that y'all have done for us as a district. And just wanted to show you a little bit with some of the things here at your spots. And of course, Ms. Neal did a great job tonight. I'm just trying to say thank you to you, but we certainly appreciate each of you and all that you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, next item is public comments. Have anyone signed up? Having none, next item is communications.
District has none.
Consent agenda, we have the minutes of the December 15th regular meeting, the monthly financial report, an amendment to the 22-23 budget, and approval of the $240,000 CD at Guaranteed Banking Trust, accepting a $9,500 donation from Farmers Banking Trust and Bailey Neon and Sign. Does any board member have any item they want pulled for discussion? Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion by Gap, have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Terry, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Next item is information items, principals and athletic directors.
Miss Howe, come on back.
Okay, so in front of you, you have our board report. So the big thing is we have received 9 new students at the elementary since we got back from Christmas. One of them is at LE, but the rest of them were on campus. So yeah, we've jumped up several. Then we have our attendance percentage. We still had some flu and some strep and some things like that going on, but I feel like that's kind of going to be all year long. Things just passing around. We have our students we recognized for the 3rd 6-week soaring Cardinals. And then we want to appreciate you, so we wanted to give you something. He mentioned it earlier, the little Scrabble name plate. It goes along with our theme, which was Game On this year. So anyway, and then the little card that the Leadership Council made for you. So thank you. Bowling, they went on their AR trip the first semester, so they had to meet their AR goal 2 times out of the 3 6 weeks. And all of those students were able to participate, and we did some in the morning and some in the afternoon. That was a picture of one of the grade levels, I think 3rd grade, that got to go. They went to Holiday Bowl. The popcorn party, it was the winners of the canned food drive, and so pre-K through 2 building, it was Miss Epperson, and 3rd through 5th was Miss Bullock's class. They got to enjoy popcorn party during wind time. We've completed our early literacy testing, which is now M class. We have middle of the year, and that's what we've completed. So they've done the beginning of the year and the middle of the year testing, and we wanted to give a special thanks to Miss Seals and Miss Dickens because they pull all of those kids and test them throughout it was last week actually. And then on the last page, I have a few pictures of some things that are going on in the classroom. We always have our bell ringers every Friday that are recognized who've met their AR goal for the 6 weeks so far. And then upcoming events, we have Kindness Week next week, which has dress-up days. We have the 100th day of school, which is on the 26th, which is also a dress-up day. And then we have UIL award ceremony, which is going to be different this year. We're going to put that in its own ceremony and not put it at the end of the school year. They competed in December, so we didn't want to wait so late to recognize them, so we're going to do that during wind time at 2:30 on the 27th. Then we have Valentine's parties, which is on the Friday before we get out for spring break, and then spring break, and then staff prep day on the 20th.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's going quick.
All right, high school, middle school, attendance rates have gone up this month, which we're still on the short side of it, but they have gone up almost 2%, so that's a good thing for us. We also got in, I think she said they all had 9 at the elementary. I think we had 13 or so at the middle school, high school that came in, but we also lost a couple here and there, so it balanced out a little bit. We're up about 4 from last year.
Total district enrollment's over 480.
Yeah, we've increased quite a bit.
We
So.
started at 470, so we're still up about 10.
Yep, we're doing well. We're very proud of that. Our blood drive that we had went well. We had over 20 units donated, which is 20 is our goal, and we actually had more than that, so we did really well. Dual credit, we started off with over 50 students, about 57 actually, in dual credit. 14 of the students that are taking dual credit are in our new dual credit class, which is being taught by Mr. Fandon, which is music appreciation. Kids are actually liking it. They've kind of actually come back talking about it. They started this week, and so I'm very happy about that. The ag students went down to Fort Worth, and you'll see there in the picture, they won several blue ribbons, a couple reds, but for the most part, there was a lot of projects that turned out really well there. We were proud of them. Mr. Fannin also had 3 band members that went to the Forest State Bandmasters Association concert. Alyssa Snow, Emma Fothergill, and Kayla Gray. And from my understanding, it went really well. They stood and held their own there at that concert. Things that are coming up this next month, we have a baked potato fundraiser that'll be at the Bowie game in the gym lobby for the junior class. We have a sweetheart dance that is coming up on February the 11th with the times there listed in that photo, and it will be for different age groups at different times, so that way our parents for the elementary can be involved. We want them to be able to dance with their daughters or mothers with their sons, or however. And then we have, of course, winter break coming up before too long. Other than that, that'll be about it. Anything else, anybody? All right, thank you guys.
Athletic director is at junior high basketball currently, but I have his report. So we are certainly in basketball, in full swing. So the district is started. Currently our boys are 1-1 in district. Girls basketball got a good win Friday night. Currently sitting in 4th place with an opportunity to make the playoffs. JV's had a good year there as well. So you can see our junior high girls 2-4 B team is undefeated. Junior high boys are currently 2nd place. Powerlifting is about to kick off January 21st, the first meet. The first mod meet will be February the 2nd. And golf is up and rolling. Good practice sessions out at our facility, and then we'll be having our first tournament there on February the 27th. So I had some good feedback of the students being able to go out there and really start getting some work in, and seem to be enjoying their time.
Next item on the agenda, discussion of facility committee recommendations and potential May 2023 bond election.
All right, first thing I'd like, I'm going to pass this list out. This is a list of our facility committee members, just so you guys can know everybody that was on that committee. Last year we started the facility discussions off. The board, I know we met and kind of discussed about things back in February, and we had our first committee meeting in February. So we've met for almost a year, had 5 facility committee meetings, and I'm going to give you kind of a rundown of what those are, but that's the members that participated throughout this process. Pass these out to Mo. One more. So this was the last committee meeting we kind of went through. I won't go through everything. But overall, the committee met and listed out, these are the 12 wants and needs that we considered with the prices that we had. As the committee started meeting very quickly, out of those 25 people, we came up with 4 high needs priorities, which would be one in order from what we found, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which was improving the site and traffic control with parking, looking at a new cafeteria, looking at a renovated space or new space for a band hall, and then looking at possibly of a new high school. So those were the 4 priorities that the overall, that we overall came up with, those 4 high needs priorities. After we met and we started breaking down cost of those, the facility committees really come back with 2 recommendations that we look at those 4 priorities. So the cafeteria, the band hall, the traffic control and parking, and then the high school. Once we looked at cost, the recommendation of the facility committee is to come in a 2-phase approach, with phase 1 being this master plan here of construction of a new cafeteria, which would be in this area of number 1. That is roughly a 9,000 square foot cafeteria, which is about 1,200 square foot larger than what we currently have. Then taking the current cafeteria, 7,800 square foot cafeteria we currently have, and renovating that into a new band hall. And then this traffic control, number 5, that goes around the campus, back around through pre-K, and we come here. The two things that does is for safety, it keeps us from driving through high school students or middle school students. That was a concern of the community. And then adding parking in where it says 6 in these 3 areas that we would be looking at. You can see the cost that we have here. Total cost for phase 1 is an estimated just under $8.2 million. Oh, somebody forgot your stuff. So that would be the recommended phase 1 to look at first. The second phase would be consideration and construction of a new high school in this area where number 2 is. The construction and addition of new parking in this general area. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly here, but somewhere in this area. I believe that parking lot is a roughly 40,000 square foot addition for parking. And then the demolition of the current high school here that would free up space for future growth. The total cost of that project is at just over 8.9 million. And what we looked at financially is we certainly have the ability to use the 3 funding mechanisms that we can use are either district cash, we can have what's called either M&O tax rate notes or time warrants, where we can ask community for school bonds. And at this time, we have enough that we would consider to pay in cash and then look at the possibility for phase 1 of a community bond in the neighborhood of 6.1 to 6.2 million to complete these phase or master phase plan 1. So your next section to that would be capacity analysis and tax rates. We kind of printed out 4 of those. At a 20-cent tax rate increase, that would generate, given the current situation, which interest rates are starting to improve, but during the current interest rates and our current tax values, a 20-cent increase in property tax would net us $5.7 million in bond capacity. And here are the impacts to home values from $75,000 to $200,000. So I've given you copies of both 20 cents, 22 cents would generate 6.2 million, 24 cents would give us 6.8, and then we went ahead and the top end of that would be around 30 cents, which could generate up to about 7.2 million. Now, if interest rates improve, we certainly could generate more, given our current values. We won't see any value adjustments until the summer. So in May, we would base it off the current value that we have. And then the very last slide I included here is just a general historical tax rate. So this goes back to 2004. Our tax rate was $1.35, so that's the total of our M&O of 4 cents. And our maintenance operations was $1.35, so it started out right under $1.40. And over the last roughly 20 years, that complete tax rate is now just under $1 as it's been compressed. But just to give you a general idea of kind of where our tax rates have been in historical values. So the facility committee tonight, we're not taking any necessary actions on that, but the facility committee would like to submit those recommendations for these 2 phases of a master plan. With the first phase again being the cafeteria, the renovation of the existing cafeteria to a band hall and the new drive and parking.
You said that the interest rates could affect how much the bond would be. That would be how much the actual.
So each tax rate, so as the interest rate improves, for example, if we do a 20-cent tax rate increase, the better the interest rate, the more that would generate. So we could either generate more funds or we could ask for less tax increase. And when we look at bonds, we certainly, when we go to, if we ask the community and they are to pass those, we sell what we need out of that. There's no requirement to sell it all at that moment. We certainly can use what we need out of those.
What happens if we have a bond and then it's more than what we need to complete deal, what happens to the leftover money? If there is.
So it can be used within that construction project, or it can be used at a later date
Okay.
for something else that may be needed. Those are certainly options that you have with that. And through these construction prices, we've met with architect firm, Ideal Construction, who's done our construction here in the past, to give us some estimates. And they have estimated the inflation over that time and believe that they've built in a cushion enough that unless something really crazy happens with prices, that they feel like these are solid numbers that we could get into these new facilities and renovate for. But we certainly want to plan with cushion. We certainly don't want to go into a project and then not budget enough.
I was just wondering, what do we do with the, my question is, what happens to the cushion if there is leftover? We put it back in the bond, pay off the bond quicker, or?
Could not issue some of the bonds.
You save.
That's what I'm saying.
You
Is
just
that
wouldn't-
possible that?
Reduce the debt.
You can reduce the debt, because I think that if we promise, my feelings are, if we say this is a bond amount we're gonna do it for these items, and if those items come in under, then that's not what the people voted on. That money should go back to the,
And that's what
you know what I'm trying to say?
That's what happened with the last bond.
Okay. Okay, it was just a question I had that I hadn't.
So basically, yeah, absolutely. So
Hadn't thought of it.
if we ask the community, we'll ask them for a tax rate. And then what we're asking is to pay off those bonds that we do sell. If we don't use that, you certainly can then adjust that tax rate lower to whatever you need it to be. But when we do ask for this, whatever we need to make that payment, just like we do when we set our INS, there is some fluctuation depending on property value. So we've seen it go up, we've seen it go down in some degree. So we have to tax it whatever we need to be able to make that annual payment on a bond.
Okay.
So the current, I know I was asked this, the current tax rate is estimated on these at 5% for bonds. So if those interest rates start coming in below that, which they're starting to move and trend in that direction, then we certainly could generate more funds or these funds with less of a tax rate implication or impact.
So the projections are that the interest rates are going down?
Second half of this year, the expectation is that rates will start to
Okay,
go.
well, that's good enough.
We feel like
From the economic forecast.
when I talk to our financial advisor, we feel like the 5% is that we don't believe it's going to be much higher than that. We feel like that's a solid number, but most likely will be lower than that. If we do pass this and if the bond, if we do call a bond in May and it passes, we would not sell bonds until the earliest in August or September. So you'll be in that neighborhood when you lock those rates in. I do have, just for financial kind of positions in cash, I know we have looked at this at our audits, but just if you guys want to look at these again. The top half is an outstanding M&O debt, both the annual payments, the current balances, and what we're paying there for M&O. At the bottom is our cash fund balance. So we currently have 1.68 million set aside for construction, another 375,000 set aside for other construction or needs that we can certainly use. You can see our unassigned fund balance, which we by state need to keep. And then we have a committed balance that we have currently that would offset our current debt. But those funds under assigned, just over 2 million is certainly money that we can use for this project to lessen the impact if we do call a bond on the community, what we ask the community for.
And we talked about, phase one and phase two, just to kind
Yes,
of
sir.
clarify there, how did those phases
Sure,
work?
yeah. What we looked at is trying to attack this master plan phase one as soon as possible. And then if we can go to the community and are able to complete phase one, we would look at in the next 8 to 10 years is what we've been challenged by the committee and asked to look at a time that we could attack the high school. And during that, in that 8 to 10 year mark, we're going to have a current bond that would be paid off, M&O debt that could be paid off, and the ability to save cash again, that we could look at a good opportunity in those 8 to 10 years to have a real opportunity to look at the building the high school and that parking lot. And as we've talked about with our facilities, as we've seen here, we really can't bite off multiple buildings at one time. We really have to plan this where we can do them in smaller phases, because that's what our financial position is going to allow us to do. So if we can do this now, then you can look at attacking that high school, 8, 10, 12 years after that, you can look at your next ability to start improving facilities. So I think this master plan gives us a really good footprint in a way that we can continue to add on to our campus as needed. And certainly these are projects, all 4 of these are projects that this committee really felt were high priorities. This first phase really addresses most of them all at one time, makes it a little easier to reach the high school than what it currently is.
Big just along as one of the committee members, one of the things that was exciting about this plan the engineering firm brought to us is with this change of traffic flow pattern, there's a vision of how everything works together long into the future with this plan. I mean, even going out maybe 30 years of expansions, other constructions, everything flows together. It's a long-term vision that I think has served this district for decades. That's exciting.
And I think that was one of the biggest challenges when we went in. We really didn't have a good solid plan, and everything that we looked at building was in this one place because it's the only place to fit the footprint and the traffic patterns. And this plan certainly allows us to access the land that we do own behind the gym, the ag shop, the elementary, and start being able to use that in future construction envision. So certainly gives us a great opportunity. As we move forward, if we move forward in this plan, the board would certainly need to take action at a later date. The roads, and a lot of this is still a malleable project as far as we can move those things around as we feel like are needed, but this is just a quick vision of what this could get us.
Any other questions or discussion?
If the board so chooses to move forward and call an election, a bond election in May of 2023, that deadline is February the 17th. We would need to look at meeting sometime before that. Certainly want to have it on a meeting date that all board members could be here. So one that we looked at and like to check the calendar if we'd like to move forward with is February the 6th, which is a Monday.
6 or 6:30?
Either one the board desires. We typically on those special meetings have done it at an earlier time, but if 6 is fine, we can certainly do it at 6.
Whatever the pleasure of the board is.
I'm good with either.
It don't matter to me.
Like either.
6 good for you? Let's do 6 o'clock there on February the 6th. Any other questions or discussions?
No
That's
action
all I
tonight.
have. No action tonight.
So we'll move on to item 10, consider and approve policy update 120 local, discuss legal policy.
All right, so we have the local policy here for TASB. My recommendation is that we approve it. It does address, it cleans up some language for our Guardian program. It cleans up some grievance language that they believe will fit better with the some of the new laws that are coming out. And then the legal plan is all stuff that we certainly need to recognize. As Terry said, there's 100 pages of legal. So, but my recommendation is that we do need to approve update 120.
Any questions or discussion regarding the policy update 120? Do we have a motion to approve policy update 120 local and legal policy?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion by Terry, we have a second.
Second.
Second by RJ, all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Superintendent's report.
All right, fence update. We have All sections of our iron fence are working. They came out this week and actually got our door closers on the gates to work and function much better. So all those have done. So I believe that first project is fully complete. They have put all the anti-scaling wire on the perimeter. The last bit of that we have to work on is there's 3 areas back behind the drains where it waters that's kind of a V shape, and they're building some frame there that they're going to build to go down to that. So that is the last section of the fence, and then that'll be fully complete. Richard has done an outstanding job, been very responsive when we've needed things. Been very happy with it, they've been able to do. We've had the gate now functioning for probably 3 weeks, and I think after the first week we had a little bit of a software issue, but certainly been functioning properly and correctly since then. So people seem to be getting in a pretty good routine, at least getting through there and getting back. So I think it's working the way that we intended. Midwinter Conference, I'll be in Austin from that January 29th through roughly February the 1st. It's our superintendent conference. Certainly lots of things that we'll be learning about, but of course with the legislature meeting, we'll start seeing a lot of that with proposed budgets, proposed legislature. We'll certainly see some of the proposed safety rules that are going out. There's a lot of discussion and post on some of the safety things that TEA has put out, but it's not all official yet. So those are certainly things I'll be looking for when we get there, as well as following up with some of our CEN and P-TECH initiatives. There'll be plenty there in Midwinter that we can go through and bring back to the district. And then donations to the district. This month we received a check for $1,000 from Mr. Greg Cooley. Alumnus, Miss Holly, what year did you graduate? 72, because he just had his 50th. That was a class of 72. Mr. Cooley has donated that $1,000. We plan to split that $500 to each, the elementary and to the secondary library for academics, which I guess is his only real point, is he wants it to be an academic donation and not an athletic. So we certainly appreciate all that Mr. Cooley does and that he's donated for us. And then our last one, letter D, board training. The next training opportunity we'll have locally will be March the 30th, the NTSBA. I think most of our board members have, since we've had 2 trainings this semester, most of everyone has met. What we should have, but Ms. Holly and I will be calculating those things, and if you need hours, I'll be certain to get to you. But just you can look at that if you're interested in going to the one at Region 8. Their spring meeting will be on March the 30th. That's all I got.
We're going into executive session at 7:20 p.m. We're discussing personnel according to Texas Government Code Section 551.074. Conducting the annual superintendent evaluation, Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discuss and consider employment contract to superintendent, same Texas Government Code, and discussion of personnel, same Texas Government Code 551.074. Take about a 5-minute break and then we'll reconvene in closed session. So we're coming back into open session at 9:25 p.m. Next item on the agenda is consider and take action on employment contract of the superintendent. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we extend the contract by a year with a salary of $125,000.
All right, we have a motion to increase the contract by a year with a salary of $125,000. We have a second? A second by Gap. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Next item is adjournment. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous.